right. So hi everybody, thank you for joining us. With the WeSolve team, we are very pleased to welcome you for our first series of digital events on the Sustainable Development Goals for 2030. So I'm Leah, and with Andra, that is just over there. We are representing WeSolve, and we will be your host for today. So even if physical meetings are not possible, we are thrilled to see people interested in these issues and ready to engage themselves through other ways of participation. So, well, today's events constitutes the first event of our series. We will talk about the concept of social inclusion. Social inclusion being a very broad concept, we wanted it to narrow it down to the issues refugees and asylum seekers can face arriving in a new country. So this event will take place as an open discussion on different challenges we will raise together throughout the event. So just as a reminder, do not forget to download the app WeSolve so we can see your participation throughout the event and even after, because this is the aim of all that. Well, it is available on the App Store and on Google Play. So yeah, it's a WeSolve app, and you can find it normally quite easily. And more generally, so for this series of events, the goal of it is to present some of the social issues that are encountered in our societies. We want to inform participants about the Agenda 2030, about the SDGs, and to challenge citizens directly in order for them to make a contribution and transform their digital activity into concrete impacts in their society. So first of all, who are we?
If we want to transform ideas into solutions, we need to do that and use our technologies that we have today. So we thought about this digital engagement platform, which is today WeSolve, as in a public engagement platform which supports active and democratic participation. We are promoting social sustainability and well-being through active collaboration between communities, and we aim at including a wide network of organizations and municipalities that can engage with their communities. WeSolve believes in transparency, open communication, and democratic decision-making processes. That will involve you as citizens and everyone who wants to join as for reaching sustainable development.
So, can you wait? Yes. So since WeSolve's aim is to bring municipalities, organizations, and communities together on our digital engagement platform, we thought that organizing like events based on the SDGs will increase the curiosity of the people, raise awareness on social issues, and finally contribute to a more inclusive, resilient, and sustainable society. So every event will be based on different sustainable development goals and will bring communities together with the organizations supporting common visions. So, in a nutshell, the SDGs have been set up as goals for 2030 by the UN in order to lift people from poverty and hunger, as well as ensuring, among other things, healthy lives and access to education and information. So there are 17 SDGs, each one representing a specific topic of development. So here you can find the different events that we are planning for now. And we hope that we'll see you again on them, assisting them. So the purpose of this first event is to shed some light in the world of refugees by defining and talking about social inclusions and the challenges faced by organizations in this field. So we are very happy to welcome today Tarek, our guest. And well, he's one of the main founders of Venligboerne organization, which will join us a bit later in the discussion about the challenges faced in regards to social inclusion.
But first of all, we should understand the concept itself and what is actually social inclusion. Social inclusion will be a broad concept, but when we talk about it, it mainly covers the topics of prosperity for all, fighting discrimination, equal protection under the laws, social mobility, and enabling everybody to meet their basic needs. According to UN, as my colleague also mentioned, social inclusion could be defined as the process of improving the terms of participation in society, particularly for people who are disadvantaged, through enhancing opportunities, access to resources, voice, and respect for human rights. Social inclusion in this way will be the principle that every person benefits and has prosperity and meets basic needs. The concept is also in Agenda 2013, and it is capturing these 17 Sustainable Development Goals. But however, we cannot understand it without placing it in respect to the human rights. And when we are talking about the problems of refugees, for example, as we will be doing today, we are talking about human rights in a broader way. And we need to go back to the United Nations Declaration from 1948.
Indeed, after World War II, the United Nations organization was founded as an organization committed to maintaining international peace and security, while developing friendly relations among nations and promoting social progress, better living standards, and human rights. So the concept of social inclusion is one of the pillars of the Declaration of Human Rights signed by the United Nations in 1948 that claims that all people are equal and should have access to the same opportunities. The basic needs stated by the declaration, such as healthcare, education, safety, right to work, livelihood, social security, and so on, are also goals that can't be achieved without social inclusion. So, however, despite international laws, we still face present social issues in our societies.
In this way, social inclusion goes hand in hand with social exclusion. And it is really important to notice that social inclusion describe states in which individuals are unable to participate fully in economic, social, political, or cultural life, as well as in the processes which sustain this state. Access to participation is very important when it comes to our democratic societies. And this is also the main goal of WeSolve. And in this context, we are trying to become a digital engagement platform for everybody, for organizations, municipalities, and citizens coming together to build a democratic and transparent decision-making process. Social inclusion here in many problems concerns our societies even today, especially since many researchers cannot see sustainable development without social justice and social inclusion. Inequalities that we will see maybe happening even today, even in developed countries and high-income countries, are still problems. And we will talk about these issues with our guest today, Tarek, from the Association Venligboerne.
Yes, Tarek Kirani is our treasured guest for today's event, so maybe I can stop sharing my screen. Where are you, Tarek? Here you are.
Hello, everybody.
Kirani is a Syrian citizen and a refugee in Denmark. He has been in Denmark for about 5 years now, through which he has been advocating for the issues of the refugees, integration, etc. He's a public speaker and co-founder and board member of the widely spread movement of Venligboerne in Denmark. And maybe, Andrea, you can present the Venligboerne.
Yeah, sure. And Venligboerne is a friendly neighborhood of ours. It's an organization created by a group of refugees and Danes whose main purpose is to build bridges between people from different cultures here in Denmark. The organization first initiatives were gatherings, cafes, sports events through which people could meet and interact on a human level. Tarek will make us understand, hopefully through his own eyes, how social inclusion in terms of refugees is to be understood in Denmark and how he is making a difference in regards to his own actions aimed at helping people in need.
So thank you so much, Tarek, for joining us. And
of course.
If you want to present yourself and
I think you've done a great job. Thank you, Leah and Andrea, for introducing me. As has been said, my name is Tarek Kelani, and I have studied journalism at the University of Damascus, and now I'm studying psychology at the University of Copenhagen. I work with kids who have autism, and I volunteer at Amnesty International, where we constructed an advisory board to discuss the possibility of introducing the community sponsorship model to the Danish immigration system. I'm, as said, the co-founder of Venligboerne, and today, in cooperation with we want to discuss some societal problems and challenges within the theme of immigration and refugee. Well, today we thought about raising 3 challenges, and you are, of course, welcome to add and contribute with whatever an idea you have. You just download the app and share your ideas with us. The 3 main challenges we want to discuss today. The first one is the shortage of resources. When a newcomer arrives at his or her municipality, they usually do not have a surplus of energy, money, network, or any sort of resources. And I say that from a personal experience. The challenge is, what can we as NGOs and organizations do about it? Well, this is especially felt by people who get a faraway municipality. And I say gets because Denmark is one of the only countries in Europe that chooses for a refugee or a newcomer a municipality and sends them there instead of them choosing for themselves. These individuals, they do not get integrated nearly as much as others in, to say, central Copenhagen. But from own experience, I can say that people in the far countryside, when found, they have an amazing culture of inviting people in and taking care of a guest. And they have remarkable hospitality, to say. But I really want to hear your thoughts about the how. How can we make people fit in their new place of residency? When people come there, it's hard to find anyone to talk to learn the language, the culture, to make any sort of activities, to be part of the society. And well, we need some ideas to see how can we do it, because we've got the organizations for it. We have Venligboerne, we have a lot of other organizations. Well, Venligboerne today operates in almost every municipality in Denmark. The story of it is a funny story, because we started in a little village up in North Jutland, and it was just a reaction because people could see that we were different, both in our looks and in our behaviors. So we wanted to show them that we are truly the same. So we gathered and started giving people flyers and flyers about our civilization, about what we came from, and some flowers just to we appeal to them, and it was a great start. Now we operate almost in every municipality. We can do a lot, but we wanna know how to do it, how people react mostly to activities. So this is the first challenge. The second one is about social inclusion. as Andrea beautifully puts it. And the question is, how can society integrate someone who does not understand the culture of the NGO's work, and that some initiatives, for example, initiatives done by Venligboerne, exist. Some people are more fortunate than others and get introduced to places where they can get a starting lead, to say, for their integration process. But others do not. And I myself was one of the people who was sent away to a far away municipality. It's hard. And this results in many things, among which not contributing in the political or financial or social and cultural development in Denmark. One stays at their house far away in the middle of nothing, and they don't contribute to any sort of development in the society. And the question here is, how can immigrants and refugees be more engaged in the different aspects of life in Denmark? And what challenges are there? I mean, lately, some statistics were drawn and showed that people with other ethnicities, they don't vote as much as Danes. And well, maybe that some aspect of them not, or us not being part of the development in the society, because the political development is a central one. Why don't they? And how can we make people participate and contribute to the society they live in more than they already do? Which takes us actually to the third challenge, and it's the belonging issue, because I think from own experience and from experience of others, other stories I've heard, that people don't feel that they belong to the Danish society. Many refugees and immigrants, despite their long residency in Denmark, do not feel that they belong to the Danish community. This is seemingly a problem caused and enlarged by both sides. But why, and what can we do about it? This builds undoubtedly on the previous issue. But this goes from being an individual issue to a societal and perhaps a governmental one and generational one. Because when people do not feel that they belong to where they live, a gap starts to be bigger as time goes. And generation after generation, the puzzle gets harder to crack and solve. But I mean, on the one hand, Denmark and Scandinavia, generally speaking, have a culture that feels like a family. I think it was an American author, who said that the Danish society and the Scandinavian society is like being in a big family. So it is hard to come to Denmark and feel like you are home. Maybe perhaps it's due to the small size of Denmark. But on the other side, I mean, immigrants and refugees have a huge responsibility of making the best of the chance they are given here in Denmark. But people from both sides give up sometimes and just follow the flow of being with their own. I mean, we already today are talking about ghettos in the political scenes. We are talking about ghettos and about people favoriting their own and being with people who looks like them. What can we as civil society organizations and individuals do about it? I mean, any initiatives, activities, suggestions, solutions? Because again, we've got the organizations for it. Those are the three main challenges that we have.
Thank you, Tarek, so much for your
Thank you very much. Yeah.
of the organization and, for example, what kind of situations or challenges refugees are facing when coming to Denmark. We tried to name what is social inclusion, what is social exclusion, for the people to understand better in the concept of United Nations, for example, or how is it seen. But unfortunately, there is a lot to say about it, right, when it actually comes to solutions, and it is eventually a political problem when we come down to it. However, can you help us, for example, understand, since you came to Denmark as well, what are the steps usually that refugees do when they come here, and how they are helped by the organizations as Venligboerne or others, and maybe what is actually missing in this environment right now, and maybe we can challenge ourselves and find some kind of solutions. What do
Of
you
course,
say?
of course, it would be my pleasure. When a refugee comes to Denmark, first of all, they are sent to an asylum center, where we stay there for maybe 40 to 6 months. Not much happens there, but what happened in my case, it was that because people started talking about us, and they went to the mayor and talked about us being different and stuff. We go to the supermarkets like 6 people in big groups and stuff. So we were remarkable. So people started going to the mayor and talking about it. So we wanted to show them that it's fine that we are there, and we are truly the same. That's why we made this first initiative, and there the whole staying in the asylum center period was very different. People started coming. We made some cafes. We made a cafe called Cafe Sunshine, where people, all sorts of people, just started coming and visiting us, sitting with us, talking. A lot of Danish people showed up. There were activities almost every day. So we didn't get actually we didn't get the same starting period as other people did, other refugees did. When we moved from our to our municipalities, and that's exactly what happens. After you've been there, you receive your residency, your primary residency, and then you are moved to a municipality. So they tell you this is the municipality you have to go to, and you go there, and you are met with a worker from the municipality, and he shows you where you have to live and where your school is, and your life basically starts there. What happened is, because we have started Venligboerne, when we moved to our different municipalities, we started local Venligboerne groups in every municipality. So there were a lot of activities all over the country. Venligboerne has helped me a lot in this sense, because I mean, when I went to my municipality, it was really far away. There was no one. I had no neighbors at all. What I did is I got contacted by some people who wanted to make a local Venligboerne group and start a cafe and all of that. So I started meeting people there. So it was like the key for me to open this huge door of Danish society. And I think actually that's the core of the problem of refugees arriving, because when we arrive here, we neither have the sufficient mental resources nor the necessary tools to crack the puzzle of the society. We do not. And that's what organizations like Venligboerne helps with. They show you the way, they give you the key.
Well, we have a question from Angela. She is asking, when you talk about feeling part of the country in a family sense, what aspects are you referring to? And well, she's asking the question to everybody, but what do you all think? Well, what aspects contribute to this feeling of belonging? According to you, yeah.
Well, first of all, when I speak about Danish society as a family, it's because I think that's how Danish people like feel. the feeling of belonging is a feeling that you actually don't feel. You feel it firstly when you don't have it. So as long as you live within your family, within your society, within your community, you don't feel that you belong. You are just there. But once you crack that feeling, you start feeling it. And that's I think that's the core of the issue of belonging, because once we are here, it's very hard to feel like you are home. You belong. You have the same rights. You have the and surely because you don't have the same, for example, political rights. We don't have the right to vote. So maybe people are having difficult time to adjust and accept that it's their new society now. It's their new community. I don't like to call the Danish society as a close society because I don't think it is a close society. It's more an individualistic society that everyone lives their own lives and stuff. When people come, I can talk about people from Middle East. When we come here and see that people don't talk as much, don't share as much, it's hard for us to feel a part of the society. And I mean, it's fine as long as it's an individual problem, but once it becomes a generational one and a societal one, then we have to engage.
And well, what are the biggest challenges that you faced when working with the refugees themselves here in Denmark when you were in the Venligboerne? When you are still in Venligboerne, but
Yeah.
what are the main thing that's result from all of this?
Well, I've worked several places and seen different problems. One of the big issues that people are just hanging out with their own and favoring their own people. So not integrating is a huge issue now in Denmark. And I mean, I understand it to a certain extent. But the other issue is the difference in culture. I worked with an organization called the Globally Connected, and we had done some work on the gap between the Danish people and the refugees in Denmark, and between the refugees themselves. And we found out we have done that in many countries, in French, in Germany, Turkey, Jordan, and in Denmark. And we found out that in Denmark, particularly in Denmark, there was this issue of people not sending, for example, their wives to work, so or to school to learn language. So a lot of women who come from Middle East have the problem of staying at home and not learning the language. Then they have their kids learning the language and identifying themselves with the language and with the culture. Then they bring this identification to their homes. The kids at home are talking to one another in Danish and identifying as Danes, but their mother doesn't even understand the language or the culture or what's happening at all. Few years later, the gap is huge between the kids themselves and their own families, and that's where an identity problem starts. So this was one of the remarkable things about Denmark and the the refugees in Denmark.
Yeah, you can see like a split of identity between us, between them.
Exactly, they have the same problem with their fathers to a certain extent. That's what we found statistically, but it's not the same. Doesn't have the same effect as it is with the mothers.
Okay, why?
Because the fathers get out and work and learn some of the like a little bit of the language, so they understand the society and the language more than the woman who's going staying at home.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
There's something that you, for example, help them with this kind of situation and this kind of families until now?
Yeah,
Like,
that was
empowering those women to like go work to work or things like that. Introduce them more.
Well, that was with an organization that only cared about the empirical evidence of how things are. But in Venligboerne, we have done we have made a lot of activities. Some of them are only for women, because we know some women from some families don't like to come when there's a huge parties and stuff. So we made some events for them where they can sit together, only for women, to sit and read, for example, together, or just hang out and stuff like this. We had rent an apartment in central Copenhagen for a year. We called it Venligboerne House. A lot of activities, food were almost always free there, and people could come. And when we had the women activities, so the door would be closed, so only this activity is going on at the point. But now we don't have it anymore, and now because of Corona, we haven't done a lot in over a year now. But we tried a lot to make activities that fit everyone and gets everyone in the Danish society.
Do you think these activities can happen without these kind of organizations? Do you think, for example, because what you are telling us is really interesting, Denmark actually checks on every kind of top country in integration and in the opportunities they offer to the refugees, but unfortunately the situation is not so pink from what you tell us. So do you think, for example, there is more to be done from the public institutions, or
well, yes and no, because I highly doubt that these activities and initiatives would happen on their own. We as civil society have the responsibility to do something about these issues. Well, from public institutions and from government side, they have done some things. One of the things is they made a law that says if you don't learn the second part of the second hardness of the language, of the Danish language, you would lose 1,000 kronas per month if you are on content here. A lot of people learn the language because they don't want to lose money. But as civil society, I think we have to try and help people as much as we can in engaging them, in saying, okay, like we do right now, we want you to integrate, you want to integrate. How do you want to do it? How can we help you do that? How you have an idea and we have an idea. How can we conceptualize it and how can we put it to work?
Okay,
maybe we can engage the people who are attending this event also in this kind of challenges?
Sorry, I didn't hear the start of your question.
Maybe we can engage the people who are in this event joining us
Yes.
also, and we can contribute together with some answers.
Yes.
And we also have from before a question, if you would like to hear it. Thank you for sharing your experience, Tarek. And she's wondering, why did you choose to come to Denmark in the first place when you came here?
It's actually because I had to leave my country because I had to go to the army and I didn't want to do that. And my brother had just left a month before me, and he came to Denmark because his best friend was in Denmark. So he came here, and once I was on my way here, I called him and he said, I'm in Denmark now. So I chose Denmark because he was the only person I knew in Europe. Yeah.
I see. Will you have, for example, other kind of advices or situations that you would like to talk about in regards to the refugees in Denmark?
Yeah, of course. One of the important things that we've done in Venligboerne, I think it's one of the important things that we made the leksehjælp, which is the homework helping. So people could come and make their homework with a Danish person. Afterwards, we found out that there was some Danish citizens that wanted to learn Arabic, and they have been in Middle East and learning Arabic for a long time. So they could speak Arabic, but they wanted to engage in what's called conversations with Arabs. So it was a win-win situation where we just sat there and talked and hanged out and drank tea and learned the language, because I think language is truly the key and the central key of entering the country and understanding the society and the culture.
May I ask, for example, how long did it take for you to learn Danish?
Yeah, of course. I started speaking Danish in my everyday after like 2 years of being here.
That's
2 years you were only speaking in English, and it was enough, I mean, in the everyday life.
Yeah, exactly. When I came to Denmark, I couldn't speak English either. So I learned English in the first place, and then after 2 years, I started speaking Danish.
And so how was it when you arrived and when you saw that, well, there be like no possibilities for you to be understood by people or just
Yeah,
communicate
yeah.
properly with people? What were your issues? What were you doing? So
I was the best at English in my group, and I could like 20 words or something. So I was like almost the translator, and I could only 20 words. It was hard because most of the situations we don't have a translator. So when you go to the municipality, you just have to talk to them, and you have to find a way where how they can understand you. And the funny story is, when we were in the asylum center, one of the workers in the asylum center called Mas Nugo, he worked there, and he was one of the people who helped us the most. He was very nice and a great guy. A few days later, when he received a message from the asylum center system, they said to him, "You can't be friends with the refugees because you are working here, so you have to delete them from your Facebook and delete their phone numbers and stuff. You can't get personal with them. So you have to choose. You have 24 hours to choose between them and your work." And he said, "I don't need 24 hours. I choose them over my work." Masnugo is the first person who he's a co-founder of Venligboerne, and he's the first one who helped us starting the whole movement. Now he has given 2 books about Venligboerne, one about Venligboerne and one about the work we do helping young children to get their families up here. Yeah, he's a great guy. So that was hard, but we managed to understand what we have to do in the beginning.
it's a
And
big
Danish is not
well, it's rejoining Badr issue that is asking in the comment section. He says, well, thank you for this explanation, but he has a question. Is how can refugees know that organizations such as like Venligboerne exist, and how can we help them, knowing them better?
Yeah, this is truly one of the challenges that we have, and that's why I mentioned it in the third challenge, because it is very central. People who don't know, well, I can give an example. I was with one of my friends for 2 days ago, and I work at the Danish Council, Danish Refugee Council, and we try to help refugees to boost themselves up and to know how they can get interesting jobs that match their level of education, for example, and their interest. And he is a guy who has been studying. He's an academic from Syria, and he's just working some random job because he doesn't know how to do that. I said, I'm working right now on a project that helps people get more interesting and more qualified jobs for themselves, but he didn't know about it. It was totally random that I told him about it. And that's what happens sometimes with the Venligboerne, because people don't know it exists. Even though now we have more than 50,000 in the group of Copenhagen, and you have maybe over 100,000 of people all over the country in the Facebook groups. But how can we reach more people? I really want to hear your thoughts, guys, about how do you think we can do that, because it is challenging.
We are also trying to help as much as we can, maybe by using WeSolve platform as well. And it will become an engagement for everybody. And you can have a lot of inputs in regards to that. However, you were talking also about job opportunities, right? How
Yes.
do you think that is going for the refugees, or how do you help them? Is there anything that they can do when arriving in Denmark?
Well, I have a very long story about finding jobs in Denmark. So I'm not going to tell the whole story. I'm going to shorten it because I found a lot of jobs, and many of them I didn't get paid, or I got cheated, or stuff like this. But before I had been here for a year, I had found 2 jobs. They were crappy jobs, but they were jobs. People have difficulties finding jobs because they don't understand the language, and it's a core thing to find qualified jobs. The government is pushing people to find jobs, but they don't help them to answer the how. Like, you have to find a job, otherwise you will lose your money, or you will lose your content help. But they don't tell them how or help them. They say you have to send applications. We do that, but we don't get jobs. You need to be very active to be able to find jobs that fit you. And that's what we did with the Danish Refugee Council. We tried to help people unofficially to be more able to boost themselves up and show their qualifications.
Okay.
And I think this one of the challenges actually that the Danish government has to deal with. How can we help people find jobs? Not only pushing them to find jobs, but help them.
Okay, thank you very much. Really, really interesting. And actually, Olivia is asking everyone to, well, she's asking, well, can you elaborate again on the law about language and the 1,000 DKK every month, losing it, 1,000 DKK every month if you don't find it. So
It's because there was a law that said that I think the former government has done a law that said if you are on content help, which is the help from the municipality, if you are jobless, then the municipality can send you money every month until you find a job, right? And you have to send applications in to every week. I think two applications per week to and document that to get your money or your help from the municipality. And they said if you are a refugee and you within the first I think 2 years you don't learn Danish 2, it's called Dansk 2. If you don't learn it, then you would have to lose 1,000 per year. You'll get 1,000 less per month.
thank you. Okay. Really interesting. So we have a new question from Yasser, and is asking you how the integration process changed you as a person going through all this.
Yeah, this is a good question.
Mm.
I think it made me a more aware person, because as I said before, when you live in your own country, in your own community, you don't notice that you belong. You don't notice that you are integrated. You are a part of a whole, and you don't notice that until it happens. There is a lot of literature in psychology that speaks about the issue, but once you are in another place where you actively have to integrate yourself, it becomes very clear for you, and you go through some difficulties and maybe some give ups, and but at some point you fight through it, and I think it's a good challenge. It's a good challenge that someone gets out of their comfort zone and try to integrate themselves within a new community and be part of it.
Thank you for sharing this. It's really interesting and maybe helpful for other people as well. So if someone wants to comment on our WeSolve platform, and if you downloaded it before the event, if not, you can do it now and join the challenges.
Yes,
Can we
sure.
share maybe with
Absolutely. Yeah, we can share it. So it is there. Can you see it? Not already. Well, can you see maybe the screen? Does anyone see it? Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Perfect. So the three main challenges that Tarek was talking about are basically in the Venligboerne panel. They have been published, so I'm gonna show you by being on the WeSolve first screen. So if you go on the top left, you have like a plus follow, and then you can have the Venligboerne panel that is just there. So if you follow it, then on the really bottom, you have the three main challenges. So really feel free to propose your ideas and to comment the different sections to make it more interactive, ask questions one to another, and even propose solutions. So you have the social inclusion one there, and the last one is the belonging issue. So we just sent you the link of the app in the comment section. So it's for Android and iOS, and well, feel free to challenge yourself and to answer it as much as possible, even to debate it between each other. It'll be really nice. And yes, we may maybe wait for minutes if some people want to, well, for example, submit ideas or whatever.
Yes, of course, and we will thank you. We will collect every data and talk with Tarek after the event as well. Exactly. And maybe come up with new ideas for his activity, and maybe we can propose to the municipality itself, because on WeSolve now we have some municipalities from Denmark joining. And how Tarek was saying that refugees, when coming to Denmark, are deported to different municipalities, right? So it's not that they can stay, for example, in Copenhagen if they would like to. In the first part of this process, they don't really know where they're gonna be, and it's important to have maybe some inputs from the general perspective, but also local one. So feel free to join, and we will think of this. And after the event as well, I mean, it's not now per se that you need to go and just come. You can do it after.
No, actually, that's also the aim of this event, is to present like WeSolve and well, present those issues, but for sure those issues will stay after the event. So feel free really to use the platform, try to submit your ideas, and yes, we aim to collect as much as possible, as much ideas as possible, so we can even work with municipalities, social organizations, citizens in the same direction, helping solving those challenges. So yes.
Yes, so we have on Facebook, for example, event, almost 1,000 participants interested of this event. And we thought maybe there will be more, but if we will comment and maybe trying again to reach them and their perspectives on WeSolve platform, we'll have more than the participants actually on this event, so we can collaborate together.
Yeah, and don't hesitate to go on the Venligboerne panel and submit your ideas. Like just this one, for example, Victoire just wrote, we could connect with refugees through leisure activities such as sports. Being part of a team is always nice. So this can be, and feel free to comment it, to like it, or whatever. And if you want to add your own inputs, feel free to do it.
And Olivia in the chat also is really thankful for the great discussion, and she says that maybe a question about social inclusion will be if there are any difficulties in accessing banking services or using digital payment for refugees and asylum seekers. What do you think, Tarek?
Well, there is for asylum seekers, but not for refugees. Once we are sent out to our municipalities, we get a bank account, and everything is taken care of by the contact person in the municipality. So this is a problem that is solved as soon as someone gets residency. But I also wanna thank Angela for her response, and she's talking about that the Danish society, maybe we could call it the inclusion of Danes, because the Danish people have another way of being. If we compare it to other societies where people are more sociable, and I think that's a great point actually, because once we come here and we have another way of being around each other, and we come to Denmark, it's hard for us to accept or to understand that people in Denmark can be social in another way, in another manner, maybe less small talks, maybe less talking on the bus, maybe more into parties and more into meeting when there is a shared ground and a shared base.
So the idea of the sport can be really interesting to develop.
Great idea, yeah. I think it's a great idea, and we appreciate all of your ideas, guys, because I think, well, now in my organization, Venligboerne, we're gonna use this platform, and we're gonna maybe take some of the ideas and put them into reality.
That's really great. Thank you so much for this event. Thank you for presenting Venligboerne, and we'll be really pleased to work with you in the future for sure.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Tarek. See you soon.
See you soon. Hi. Goodbye.
To all our attendees today. Bye-bye.
Goodbye, everyone.
And we have a comment on the sport idea. And oh yeah, Andrea is asking also if we can also connect through creative and artistic activities. For sure, if you know initiatives or even cultural experiences that you will share with us, feel free to submit ideas. And just to answer Angela's question, is there only the opportunity to write ideas with WeSolve? You can write ideas, you can submit content, you can submit comments, but you can also answer surveys on it, and follow the different social organizations to be always aware of the new things coming up. There is a notification section, so you can click on it and be always aware of what's happening. So yes. And is this all? Thank you. Perfect. Yes, thank you, Tarek, for the insights and
Thank you for the
perspective.
opportunity. Goodbye. See you soon.
Really interesting subject. Thank you very much. Have a very good day and see you. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.